got saved, and I was even pastoring not too long after. This year is my 30th year in pastoral ministries. I started early. And struggling to forgive my father. Oh, I knew how to preach about forgiveness. It's easier to preach than to actually do it. I want you to know that although I might be a bit emotional, I'm very focused on the purpose of this presentation. So you listen to me a bit in my times of bleeding. And now I want you to listen to me for a little on how I needed to stop bleeding. I needed to name it for what it was. I said, Lord, I know you want me to forgive my father. I know I need to forgive my father, but I don't want to forgive my father. I call it a face-off. And this is not me promoting disrespect to God. It's just me having learned the value and significance of being real in the presence of God. I don't want to forgive my father. But the prayer didn't end there. I said, you got to help me. And I wish somebody had told me years before that that's how you do it. You give up the fight, recognizing that you don't have what it takes to heal yourself. But it's only by the power and the presence of God that you receive healing. So I received my healing, and it was like, how I missed that though, this was so long. You know, how could I have missed this long? I just felt it happen. And it was the power of God. Because God said, finally, you allow me to do what only I could do. So God healed me. And again, in the interest of time, there are many other wounds that I needed to name. And when I say name, I saw it for what it was. It's unforgiveness, it's anger, it's hurt, it's bitterness, and I can't deal with this. You deal with it. And I handed it over to Him. And as you listen, I want you to not compare yourself with me, but to see that we all have stories. Because we are living in a broken world. This world exists in a fallen state. And no matter how good you might think you are or how you might have it together, somehow, somewhere, there's a wound. And if you're not careful, you might be bleeding and unaware of it. That's a bad place to be. So I challenge you to revisit your present condition. And we are speaking especially to the males, although this might apply to females across the board from an emotional standpoint. And young people, you might say, well, I is a children, so this say really apply to me. Well, if that's the case, I want you to just pause for a pause and see that this is applicable and relevant to all men, all male here today. You see, on reflection, I see now what I failed to see when I was your age and your age and your age. That I was hurting. And I was bleeding. And again, there are a lot of stories, but time wouldn't allow. Just by the lift of a hand, I want to ask a few quick questions. I have 3 more minutes. Do you want a better, safer Trinidad and Tobago tomorrow? Do you want to be even happier in your life? Do you want to experience what Jesus said he came to die and raise from the grave so that he can give us not just life eternally, but life abundantly of him? So here's what. Since we agree on that, and I'm glad, I want you to see, as I come to a close of my presentation, that in order for you to receive all of that, as the case might be, and even more, see that you are responsible, first person. So if I personalize it, Paul is responsible for his healing from all the father wounds. And he is so responsible that life is not going to get better for him until he allows God to deal with every wound, as he names it. And in so doing, as he becomes healed through the power and the goodness and grace of God, he becomes a part of the solution that makes Trinidad and Tobago a better place tomorrow. He becomes part of what and who is defined as abundant life. He becomes the representation of happiness, understanding that he cannot give what he does not have. And if you apply that to yourself, you realize that you can be your best friend or your greatest enemy. You are either part of the problem or part of the solution. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Pastor Paul. Could you put your hands together again? Praise the Lord. Anybody enjoyed it so far? Anybody receive anything today? Yes, put your hands together again.